and welcome to the Evening News for Thursday, April 10, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, 1 dead, 5 hospitalized in 2 separate accidents at The Edwards and Kwamina Street. Police detain 7 Gold Board employees as multi-million-dollar fraud probe widens. Opposition votes down $1.3 billion budgeted for the specialty hospital project. Thomas Street residents decry indiscriminate dumping of garbage and hospital waste. And Guyana mourns the passing of renowned Caribbean icon, Professor Norman Gervin. Now for the news in detail. 4 persons are now patients at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation following an accident at the junction of Camp and Kwamina Streets earlier this afternoon. More in this report.
This corner is a dangerous corner, boy. Oh, gosh. At least they're reaching.
Four persons are now fighting for their lives at the Georgetown Public Hospital following a 3-way head-on collision at the junction of Camp and Kwamina Streets, Georgetown. When this newscast arrived on the scene, the badly damaged vehicles were still on the roadway. The man's body was flung into a nearby trench, which it remained until a passerby rendered assistance. The vehicles involved in the accident bear the license plates PKK 7906 and PNN 3718. A bicycle was also damaged. Surveillance footage shows that a man who is yet to be identified going eastward on Kwamina Street when the motor car, which was also heading in the same direction, collided with another motor car. The driver of the first car, in an effort to avoid the collision, swerved and subsequently collided with the bicycle, sending both persons on the bicycle into a nearby drain. The ambulance arrived on the scene shortly after and with assistance from the Guyana Fire Service whisked the bodies of the injured persons away to the hospital.
Where's the bag on him? Where's the bag on him?
Right, somebody carry your bicycle right side. Hey, look at that next man. Somebody else. They're coming.
Some $1.3 billion was disapproved by the parliamentary opposition today in their refusal to pass allocations to the specialty hospital project that was listed under the regional and clinical services. More in this report.
Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran presented the health sector's estimates to the Committee of Supply earlier today, but was once again disappointed when the opposition used its one-seat majority to disapprove allocations to the specialty hospital.
Mr. Chairman, in keeping with the decision that we had a special subcommittee looking at matters of a questionable nature, I want to indicate first of all that it is the intention of the opposition not to support this item on the in the estimates. However, we are open to any discussion that the government may want to have before you put the question to see whether a consensus can be arrived at.
Okay, well, let me just signal to you, as she has, that as regards the specialty hospital, we are not desirous specifically of supporting that, and any consensus would have to be built around that understanding.
Government's Chief Whip, Gail Teixeira, in response said that the opposition did not stand on the decision made in the subcommittee to indicate prior changes.
As we agreed yesterday, by 9 o'clock every morning, we would be informed on the government side by what were the items that were to be considered in the subcommittee, whether it was a reduction, etc. As of this morning, you and I were in communication. We weren't getting anything, and therefore the meeting was cancelled. We subsequently afterwards got an email from Ms. Ali saying that the 4 items that the opposition wishes to give non-approval to, So I don't know what negotiations one has when it's non-approval.
In his budget presentation last month, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh announced the whopping $910 million for the specialty hospital project. The construction of the hospital is part of an agreement between the government of Guyana and India for Guyana to use US $18 million through a line of credit to build the hospital. The hospital is being built to cater for complicated surgeries ranging from heart operations, organ transplants to cosmetic surgeries. Dr. Singh, in his budget presentation, had said the efforts will continue to advance the construction of Guyana's first specialty hospital, which aims to deliver tertiary-level health care not previously available to Guyanese. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
President Donald Ramotar has described the passing of Professor Norman Gervin as an immense loss for the Caribbean, which will be felt for quite some time. The president in a statement said Professor Gervin's writing and sharp analysis spanning a number of issues demonstrated sincerity in contributing to solutions to the challenges of the economic and social development of the wider Caribbean. Ramotar said his vision for the region's integration was driven by a profound desire for the peoples of the Caribbean community to benefit from sustained socio-economic development in a single space. He said Guyana valued the wisdom which he brought to the good offices process as the personal representative of the United Nations Secretary General. Foreign Minister Carleen Rodriguez-Burkett also expressed sadness at his passing while extending condolences to his widow, Mrs. Jasmine Gervin, and his family. Natural Resources Minister Robert Posot says that 7 employees attached to the Bartica and Georgetown branches of the Guyana Gold Board have been detained as investigations into the recently unearthed scam at the agency continues. More in this report.
4 days after a major scam at the Guyana Gold Board was unearthed by officials, 7 staff members attached to the Bartica and Georgetown offices have been detained and are assisting with police investigations. This is according to Natural Resources Minister Robert Posot, who noted that he is hoping for a time-efficient investigation.
Well, we are awaiting the police report, and once the matter was brought to our attention, we immediately called in the police, and we're hoping that the police takes the bottom of it and the appropriate action taken.
Prasad maintained that Bartica office would remain closed until the investigation is completed, adding that an external auditor has been retained to look at the finances of the board.
And that is why the board took a decision to close down the Bartica office pending the full investigation, and also to review what's taking place in Georgetown, because we've always been concerned. And we also working with an external auditing firm too, and if needs be, we will also be engaging in international help. But we've called in the police because we believe this is serious enough to have law enforcement involved and allow us to deal with if there are criminal acts and violation, and we expect that the appropriate action will be taken.
Last week, a scam was unearthed by officials at the board involving the Bartica sub-branch. It was reported that several $100 million Ghana dollars was being stolen each month in a racket at the gold board as a result of conspiracy between the gold dealers, government, and senior officials of that entity.
A new ad hoc mechanism has been set up to review amendments made to the 2014 national estimates presented by Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh after the House Speaker Raphael Trotman maintained his position that the Assembly has the ability to axe the budget despite the High Court's ruling. Svetlana Marshall reports.
Speaker of the National Assembly, Raphael Trotman, has put in place a new mechanism within the Committee of Supply to consider the 2014 estimates of revenues and expenditure for financial year 2014. This decision comes in wake of the January 29 ruling by the Acting Chief Justice Ian Chang on the 2012 budget cuts. In accordance with Standing Orders 72 to 75, the National Assembly was dissolved into the Committee of Supply to consider the estimates. However, a subcommittee comprising 7 members was constituted, with 4 members from the opposition and 3 from the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic, with the Speaker as the chairman.
The purpose of this committee will be to examine proposals for amendments and to find consensus or agreement where possible, and thereafter to report to the Committee of Supply. 5 At the end of this exercise, the chairman of the committee will put the question that the estimates be reported to the National Assembly. 6. The Honourable Minister of Finance will report to the National Assembly his government's opinion on the estimates and the proposals for amendment.
In January, the acting Chief Justice ruled that move by the Partnership for National Unity (APNU) and Alliance for Change (AFC) to cut the 2012 national budget was unconstitutional, explaining that they do not have the power to cut the national estimates, but to approve or disapprove the budget in its entirety.
It is my considered opinion that despite the views and opinions of the High Court, the decision does not, and indeed cannot, do harm to the National Assembly's procedures for treating with the estimates of expenditure. This is so because Article 165(1) of the Constitution is pellucid in its intention when it states, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the National Assembly may regulate its own procedure and make rules for that purpose. No court, therefore, can interfere with or fetter this right.
But Trotman was not ignorant to the theories and opinions being propelled by the governing PPPC that continue to lead on the side of the CJ's ruling. While it is not difficult to understand the reason behind Chang's ruling, the Speaker argued that there were a number of points of departure with his reasoning, noting that the House must be given the opportunity to settle its own procedure in keeping with the constitutional mandate contained in Article 165 and the protection of interference guaranteed in Article 172 of the Constitution.
Residents of Cummingsburg yesterday staged a protest in front of their homes, calling on the mayor and city council to carry out their mandate and uplift garbage from the area at a stipulated time. Let's find out more in this report.
We are taxpayers, and this place ain't clean for about 1 month straight. We children can't even go to school because they're getting a virus. I getting a virus all in my throat. You could hear her talking our horse. The mayor put in 2 constables for watchman. People don't throw rubbish there. Instead, he paid the people for clean the rubbish. He paying people for watchman. People don't running up to you, but don't throw rubbish. We're going to put these rubbish in your house, and people coming from all over and throwing the rubbish there. We're going to put this rubbish. You're going to leave this in your house. Your children are getting sick. Me whole throat, I can't even talk properly. This is where paying rates. This is where paying tax for. This is taxpayers.
That was one of the protesters as she vented her fury over the mountain pile of garbage in front of her home. She also alleged that the Georgetown Public Hospital will also dump its refuse there. This, she noted, has added insult to injury.
Georgetown Public Hospital, nasty like this here. Dirty, supposed to be healthy.
And how long you living here?
I live here over 27 years.
Over 50 years.
No, 35 years. I live here 35 years. Here never in this condition. Never yet.
Another resident, Bibi Khan, laid blame for the distasteful situation at the foot of the city council.
My name is Jamla Khan. I live in the North Cummingsburg area. This thing here, they say we must put out our garbage every Tuesday and Friday. You putting out your garbage every Tuesday and Friday, they come in every 2 months and clean it. People coming from nowhere and throwing the garbage here. Nobody's looking into it, right? If they say they're coming on Tuesday, come on Tuesday. If they say they're coming on Thursdays, come on Thursday. They come in Saturdays when there's nothing outside. No garbage bin. Those bin is for us in the yard here, okay? I'm living here for about 40-something years. This never happened. People coming from nowhere and throwing the garbage here. We need some support, we need some help. What happened to the city council? We pay rates and taxes. I pay rates and taxes. Bibi Shaira Khan.
The protest actions by those residents will come even as a $1 billion cleanup project for the country, with over $500 million allocated to improving the aesthetics of the city, was presented to the National Assembly.
Join us after a break when you hear that the deputy mayor and the town clerk clash over the sale of spots on the seawalls for Easter. Stay tuned. This is the evening news on TVG. Thanks for staying with us. The owner of the truck which fell into the Essequibo River after the ramp of the MV Canawan collapsed on Wednesday said he wants compensation in the form of a new truck. Delroy Griffith is blaming the Transport and Harbours Department for the mishap, which occurred when the vehicle was being offloaded from the ferry at the Supernam Stelling. Griffith told this newscast that his truck is worth some $7 million, and while it remains submerged, he is losing thousands of dollars in every passing day. The truck at the time was transporting 225 bags, or 10 tons of chicken feed for a businessman. Griffith is responsible for the commodity until it is delivered. According to Griffith, the estimated value for the feed is $2.5 million, money he will have to find to repay the businessman. He has been in the trucking business for the past 15 years. Scotiabank, Habitat for Humanity Guyana and Courts Guyana have partnered to provide assistance to a recent victim and survivor of domestic violence. More in this report.
Scotiabank, Habitat for Humanity Guyana and Courts yesterday announced a tri-cooperate partnership to assist in repairing the home of domestic violence abuser survivor Tamika Miller Patterson. Patterson, who is a mother of one, was recently stabbed over 24 times by her now-dead husband. She expressed her gratitude to those who will be involved in the kind gesture of repairing her home, which is located on the west coast of Demerara.
I just want to thank God especially and Habitat for Humanity and Courts because it wasn't easy. I wish my daughter could be here because she's only 8, but she's a better speaker than I am. And I know she would want to say something. Nobody never done nothing for me. I just know about working hard for what I want. I just want to tell a woman, the women nowadays, that look out for certain signs because I didn't expect this.
The organizations are partnering to repair the floors and kitchen cupboards in addition to constructing a sanitary block. Scotiabank and Courts will finance the repairs while Habitat will provide the technical skills.
Courts is happy to partner with Scotiabank with rebuilding Miss Miller's home so that she can now move on with her life, and it's part of our mandate of bringing value home and supporting the Guyanese public through our corporate social responsibility.
Additionally, Scotiabank has assisted the family through the provision of counseling for Patterson's daughter. The young woman is also receiving financial support from the entity to meet some minor expenses related to her education. Patterson is presently residing with an aunt in Georgetown until the home repairs are completed. For the evening news, I'm Gabriella Patram.
The death of Walter Rodney, among other factors, have led to the high numbers of migration in Guyana. Let's find out why in this report.
These findings of a research survey were presented at a public forum held under the theme I Am Guyana's Solution Tank at the National Library's conference room on Wednesday evening. Speaking at the event was leader of the research team, Simona Vezzoli, a researcher attached to the International Migration Institute, IMI, from the Department of International Development, University of Oxford, England. She disclosed that based on the research carried out, the migration process really began in the year 1970, some 4 years after the country would have attained independence from Great Britain, and it was found that the reasons were not merely economic but political in nature. It, however, increased rapidly in the early 1980s after Walter Rodney, a prominent historian and political activist, was assassinated, as Guyanese citizens became fearful for their lives. She disclosed several other factors which were found in the study.
Other parts of the economy were also not growing so well, with the public sector declining by 45%, bauxite operations declining between 30 and 43%, the sugar industry also declining. So overall, we see poor economic conditions, weak infrastructure, food shortages, high unemployment levels, low wages, all factors that really affect people's livelihood and then also migration decisions.
These findings come at a time when a commission of inquiry into Rodney's death has been established and set to begin its investigations. For the evening news, I'm Gomati Gangadin.
Members of the opposition told Agriculture Minister Leslie Ramsamy that with the passage of the $6 billion budget to the sugar sector, one would expect that better management systems be put in place at Gaisuco and Eskeldon factory. More in this report.
The parliamentary opposition is hoping that improvement will come sooner rather than later to help save the sinking industry. They were at the time considering the industry's estimates in the National Assembly Wednesday evening. A Partnership for National Unity Vice Chairman Rupert Rupnerine said that deep focus should be placed on improving the sector's management so that a total transformation could be had. Dr. Ramsamy responds.
There has to be improvement in factories. And I've talked about the improvement in all 7 factories. There was a point that Mr. Greenwich also talked about, and that's management. We do recognize that we need to improve management. Some of the technical persons that we have now brought in are going to work with the young managers in order to improve management in the industry. And we have made some management changes.
Alliance for Change Member of Parliament Veersamy Romaya questioned the severity of the situation at the Skeldon estate, which he said has deteriorated over the years.
Can the dear Minister tell this House at what percentage of the capacity that Skeldon estate is operating as of today in terms of production?
Mr. Chairman, a number of things were done last year, and these things have led to an improvement in the functioning of the Skeldon factory. At this time, the factory efficiency for the first crop, I believe that's what you want to know, is at 89%.
Members of both the public and private sector have raised concerns about the state of the Skeldon sugar factory. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
The Geospatial Information Management Unit of the Guyana Forestry Commission was on Thursday commissioned. The unit will work to gather geographical data in an effort to increase the efficiency of the data collection with regards to forestry geography at the organization. More on this report.
Speaking at the commissioning of the Geospatial Information Management Unit of the Forestry Commission, Natural Resources Minister Robert Prasad said the unit will bring about a much-needed transformation into the information gathering process of the Forestry Commission.
The 3 commissioners would have spoken to the value of the Geospatial Information Management Unit and how it will contribute individually to the various agencies, be it on the forestry side, be it on the land use and management side, but also the GGMC and certainly also with the EPA. But what this allows us is to have near real-time appreciation of what's happening on the ground, where we can track whether there's illegal activity, meaning illegal mining, illegal forestry activity, where we can see where there's forest change and immediately detect. And because of the information system and the integration, as you will learn from the presentation shortly, the type of information that we can generate can allow us within hours to mount an operation from Georgetown.
In the same vein, the minister related that the information collected from the unit will also be pertinent to the work of the recently launched land reclamation project. He further stressed the need for the enforcement of regulations in the forestry sector.
So we've looked at the regulations, we've looked at the legislation, but also we need to enforce those because we have perhaps one of the best in terms of looking on the legislative side. But how do we look at enforcement? Yes, we can employ more people, and we have been doing that on the Forestry Commission side, on the GGMC aspect. We're building 50 new stations. 4 have been completed, and we hope to commission those 4 new stations very soon. That is on the mining side, and we will have a number of persons more engaged. In fact, in discussion with both the chairman and the commissioner, we have a difficulty sometimes in recruiting the caliber of staff that we need in this regard. And we're finding, and I want to put out an appeal, we're finding some reluctance of people to go and to help us to police and monitor and to ensure that our rich resources, the state forest area, our mining areas, that those who operate and those who utilize those resources, they're doing it in a manner that fits into what are national expectations.
The soap opera of a confused and embattled Georgetown mayor and city council continues. This time, Gomati Gangadin reports that there is confusion over the sale of spots for the Easter holidays. Here's more.
Conflict now exists at the Georgetown Mayor and City Council after Town Clerk Carol Suba is being accused of allegedly going against the council and selling vending spots along the seawalls without seeking permission. Speaking with the Evening News, Deputy Mayor Patricia Chase Green stated that the council was not informed by Suba of such a move and was only made aware of it from some sections of the media.
The council has not given permission as yet for the sale of spots. What I do know is that sometime last month, there was a request from the Honorable Madam for $168,000 to do preparatory works for sale of spots for Easter, which is a normal thing. My understanding is this committee was not satisfied because there was not justification for the $168,000 and asked that she put a justification for it, because we still have the problem pending some payout for large sums to the Honorable Madam and some senior staff, which has not been resolved as yet. So they asked for justification. That has not been forthcoming. At the last Finance Committee meeting, when that was not available, the decision of that committee was that the justification comes saying who are the officers that are going to work, what is the money going to be used for, and if it can't reach in time, it should be done by a round robin to the Finance Committee for further confirmation or denial at Council statutory meeting on Monday. To date, when I spoke recently with the Vice Chairman of the committee, who would have led the committee because for some reason the Chairman was absent, he said he have not seen a round robin, but he would have seen advertisement for sale of spots. So that is not a council's decision.
The deputy mayor explained that even if such decisions were taken by the council, permission had to be sought from the Minister of Public Works, Robeson Ben, since he was the one who initiated the ban. Chase Green disclosed that the council is not taking the matter lightly and will address it accordingly at its next meeting. Reportedly, spots have been sold along the banned areas for sums ranging from $15,000 to $20,000 Guyana dollars. For the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
After the break, you'll hear that importers and exporters of pharmaceuticals are being urged to up their standards. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. President Donald Ramotar has rubbished comments by leader of the opposition David Granger that Guyana's economy is driven by the narcotics trade, saying that his arguments lacks merit. More from Svetlana Marshall.
In 2013, Guyana's economy recorded its 8th consecutive year of growth, with real gross domestic product (GDP) expanding by 5.2% and non-sugar GDP growing by 6.3%. But instead of applauding the government on its apparent remarkable achievement, leader of the opposition David Granger argued during the budget debates that the economy was driven by the narcotics trade. But today, President Ramotar said Granger's arguments lack merit.
I think that is a big insult to all the people of our country who are working extremely hard in order to promote and develop themselves as individuals and in the process developing our country. And these are general statements that they have been making without making any argument to substantiate any of them. I would like him to point out in any one of the line items. Where is it that the drug money is?
He said the rice industry has injected over $40 billion into the economy, while Nasi and Gahu sugar workers' wage bill accounts for $38 billion annually. He added individual homeowners spent $50 billion and $100 billion was invested by private developers who pumped their finances into the development of housing schemes in Guyana. The gold industry is no exception, he posited, noting that the industry has pumped $120 billion into the economy. The president told the press that Granger and by extension the opposition should apologize to the people of Guyana.
Our remittances was about 328 million United States dollars, which is about more over in 60-something billion, 66 billion US dollars at least, Guyana dollars in the economy as well. So I think that the opposition in general and the leader of the opposition in particular needs to apologize to the people of the country for the statement that he has made.
During the budget debates on Tuesday, the opposition leader told the House that Guyana was faced with a public security crisis where narcotic trafficking is the engine of growth that is driving the country's economy.
Republic Bank Guyana Limited, in collaboration with the University of Guyana, today commenced its two-day career coach workshop at the Education Lecture Theatre. More in this report.
Held under the theme Marketing Yourself and Understanding the Working World, the program is geared primarily towards equipping final year students from all faculties of the university with necessary tools for succeeding in today's work environment. This year, participants will be treated to sessions such as professional image and dress code, resume writing, money and time management, labor laws and policies, as well as occupational health and safety measures. Career Coach was first introduced in 2008 to fill a much-needed gap in the level of preparedness of new graduates to pursue their career of choice. The program was added to the other areas of partnership already shared with the University of Guyana under the bank's flagship social outreach initiative, The Power to Make a Difference. It commenced on Thursday and will conclude tomorrow, Friday, April 11th, 2014 at 3 p.m. For the evening news, I'm Gomati Gangadin.
The Georgetown International Academy, located in Prashad Nagar, has had its accreditation extended as a highly recognized learning institution in the U.S. Here's more.
The Georgetown International Academy GIA on Wednesday, April 9th had its accreditation extended by a committee of advanced scholars in the U.S. The accreditation was extended after scholars from the Advanced Review Committee completed a 9-month in-depth review of the school's curriculum, as well as an external review. Accreditation indicates a high standard of achievement to educational standards are regular with schools in the United States. Dr. Darrell Barringer of the Advanced Review team stated that GIA accreditation exceeds standards set by the U.S. accrediting body.
There are 5 standards that are research-based, that when schools meet these standards, they are indicators of quality and they are rigorous. So we have standard 1, which is purpose and direction, which defines for a school where they're going, what they believe, and how they're going to get there. Standard 2 is governance and leadership, which talks about governing boards, school administrators, and their effectiveness in leading the school toward improvement. Standard 3 is teaching and assessing for learning, which is classroom strategies, it's providing counseling services, it's using technology resources for instruction, it's having a solid curriculum based on content standards. So it's all about what the heart of a school is, which is teaching and assessing for learning. Standard 4 is resources, which is how does a school use its budget? How are they using technology? What kind of technology infrastructure do they have? How are they utilizing the resources that they have? And then standard 5 is the continuous improvement. How does a school function in terms of how do I get better? How do I look at data? How do I look at test results? How do I assess my students? And how do we decide how to improve the school?
Meanwhile, Director of GIA, Dr. McAdee, has commended the faculty, students, and parents of GIA for the achievement they have once again earned.
We're an institution that believes in educating the whole child. We believe in 21st century education. And all of our students are exposed to lessons in a variety of subject areas. All of the core subjects are studied, but in addition to that, all of our students participate in sports. They participate in the fine arts, music, and drama. They all participate in public speaking. They learn about social skills, life skills, skills such as service learning, important things. We don't teach children answers to exams. We teach children how to think for themselves.
The Georgetown International Academy became the first school in Guyana to gain accreditation by the Advanced Ed School Accreditation Agency in the United States in 1998. For the Evening News, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Importers and exporters of drugs and pharmaceuticals today took part in a training seminar on how to better manage and improve their businesses and standards. Gabriela Patram reports.
The Ministry of Health, Government Analyst Food and Drug Department today hosted a training seminar for importers and distributors of pharmaceuticals at the Cairo Lodge Hotel in Quamina Street. Marilyn Cole, Director of Government Analyst Food and Drug Department, said global drug regulation was initially developed some 50 years ago and focused primarily on product quality.
The Food and Drug Department benefited from a three-phase program of this very OMLC, the Official Medicine Control Laboratory. So our staff, they've been increasing their capacity to better test and look at pharmaceutical products to ensure that they are safe and efficacious.
Cole also explained that the Pan-American Network on Drug Regulatory Harmonization, PANDRA, is working with Guyana to eradicate illegal pharmaceuticals being sold on the market.
That drug registration is not a detrimental hurdle to be avoided, but it is a critical step, or the very first step, to ensure the access of effective and safe medicine in any country, territory, or location.
For the Evening News, I'm Gabriela Patram.
This is the Evening News. Stay tuned. More news still ahead. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. Head of Delegation of the European Union in Guyana, Ambassador Robert Kopecki, has underscored the body's commitment to help in eradicating child abuse in Guyana. Ambassador Kopecki was at the time delivering remarks at a Child-Link Partnership Review held at the Cairo Lodge in Georgetown. The partnership review is aimed at assessing the impact of the various Child-Link programs in Guyana and also to highlight the lessons learned and challenges encountered in implementation. The EU has been a partner of Child-Link since 2010 and channels its support to the non-governmental organizations via the European Instrument for Democracy and Human Rights, which has as its main objective the strengthening of the role of civil society in promoting human rights. To this end, the EU has published regular calls for proposal in Guyana since 2010 and to date has awarded contracts totaling $432 million to Guyanese civil society organizations. 3 grant contracts to Child-Link totaling $103 million have been approved to partly fund interventions aimed at providing security and protection from violence to children in Guyana. The police say they are investigating a fatal accident that occurred last evening at the Edward Public Road, West Coast, Berbice. The accident occurred at about 21 hours 10 and resulted in the death of Donald Ambedkar, aged 30, of Virgin East Bank, Essequibo. Police investigations have revealed that Donald Ambedkar was a driver of motor car PRR 6417, which was allegedly traveling at a fast rate when he lost control and collided with a motor lorry. Donald Ambedkar was pronounced dead on arrival at the Fort Wellington Hospital. Sugdeo Sahadio of Bath, West Coast, Berbice, who was in the motor car, received serious injuries and has been admitted to the Georgetown Public Hospital. In case you just joined us, you're watching the Evening News. Stay tuned for sports, sponsored by Macorp after the break. Welcome back now for a look at sport, but first, the headlines. GOA to hold public discussion on sport. Guyana Cup fever set for Easter Sunday, and Guyanese to officiate in Texas. Of course, the sport news comes to the kind compliments of Macor.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. But that is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Macor, let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for the details. We start off with some cricket news. Guyana cricketers will look to end the regional 4-day season on a high when they take on Trinidad and Tobago in the final round from tomorrow at the Guyana National Stadium. The Guyanese have endured a torrid time, losing 4 of their 5 games, with the other one being a drawn encounter. The final game will provide an opportunity for them to at least improve from the last place they currently occupy on the points table. Play will get underway at 10 hours. And the Guyana Olympic Association will host a public consultation on the way forward for sport tomorrow at a YMCA building from 18 hours. The event will be hosted in order for persons and organizations to air problems facing various disciplines across the country, along with providing solutions to such problems. Further, the focus will be on the development of the young nucleus of talent and the road to the 2016 Olympics and beyond. Members of the public as well as athletes and coaches are invited. The Port Moran Turf Club, in collaboration with Jumbo Jet Auto Sales, will stage the 7th annual Guyana Cup FIFA horse race meet on April 20 on the quarantine. Here's Rajav Bisnot with the details.
8 races are called for the day, with the deadline for the submission of entries being April 15. According to the organizing committee, no late entries will be accepted, and interested horse owners must submit 50% of their entry fee by the closing date. The feature race will be the C and lower horses over a mile, with the winner riding away with $2 million. The second place winner will receive $1 million, while the third and fourth place winners will collect $500,000 and $250,000 respectively. The co-feature race is for 3-year-old Guyana and West Indies bred horses, with the winner taking away $1 million. Other races called for the day are the 4-year-old event for Guyana and West Indies bred horses, the E1 and lower, the G3 and lower, I2 and lower, J2 and lower, and there's a race for H and lower horses. Further, the organizing committee informed this sportscast that the racetrack is in an excellent condition and a scorching day of racing is anticipated. Over 75 of the leading race horses have entered so far. All the races will be run under the rules of the Guyana Horse Racing Authority.
Finally, some football news. The Guyana Football Federation FIFA International referee Gervin Moore is scheduled to represent Guyana at the 35th annual Dr. Pepper Dallas Cup in Texas from April 13 to 20. Moore also officiated in the tournament in 2013. He has been a FIFA referee since 2012 and has officiated in a number of major CFU and CONCACAF tournaments, such as the CONCACAF Champions League. He has also attended a number of CONCACAF referee symposiums. Moore is set to depart Guyana tomorrow. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by Macor. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. Stay tuned. Your Bridge Reports are next.
Believe that everything worth building should be built just once. But that is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. Macor, let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back to the evening news. Now for a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed on Friday, April 11 at 14 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Friday, April 11 at 13 hours 45 for a period of 1.5 hours. And with that, we have come to the end of the evening news for Thursday, April 10, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.